Recently, people have been calling Santa Rosa one of the craft beer capitals of California. Although there are fewer breweries in Santa Rosa than wine businesses, we have seen a lot of crossover between the two businesses since we started Outside the Glass. On our quest to find out more about the realities of starting an alcohol business, I had an opportunity to visit with brewer and owner Kevin Robinson of Plow Brewing Company in Santa Rosa. Kevin has been producing beer for 24 years and has been doing it professionally for 14 years. Kevin gave us an in-depth and realistic view of what it takes to start a brewery. Welcome to another episode of Outside the Glass. We're here with Kevin Robinson of Plow Brewing Company here in Santa Rosa, California. How's it going, Kevin?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having us out today. So we came here to find out a little bit about your business and how you got started, who you are, and so forth. So we'll just jump right in. Where are you from originally?
So that's kind of a long-winded question. So originally, actually, I'm from Utah, and so up through about high school, and then in high school, I moved to San Diego and went to high school and college in San Diego, and it was in San Diego that I actually started homebrewing.
What year was that when you started homebrewing?
So I started homebrewing, it was 92, actually, yeah, 1992 is about when I started homebrewing.
Kind of at the birth of the craft beer movement or microbrew movement.
Yeah, and actually the place that I used to buy all of my homebrew supplies is a place that at that time is very similar to what my brewery is now. In that being different, that my brewery, the brewery's in the back, and then the Taproom is up front. This brewery, which is Ballast Point, at that point in time, they were a small brewery, and they were the brewery in the back, and up front, they were the homebrew store. And so Those are guys I used to, buy my homebrew stuff. They've obviously become much larger.
Right.
But
that's right. So that was a long time ago, 92.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about maybe the progression to where we are today. So where did you go after home brewing?
Yeah, so I was an avid home brewer for a long time. And then it was in 2003 that I realized that I'd kind of, reached a limit in my current, career. At that point in time, I was a construction inspector and was looking at the idea of going back to school for different, degrees. And, I really liked home brewing. And so I applied to the Master Brewers program at UC Davis, and I was accepted to that. And so that's kind of when I guess my professional brewing career started. So I went to the Master Brewers program at UC Davis in 2003, and then out of that I got a job at Lagunitas. And so I was at Lagunitas for a couple of years, left Lagunitas in 2005 to become the head brewer at Speakeasy Ales and Lagers in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I was there for about 3 years. And then in 2008, I left Speakeasy and I went to a winery in St. Helena just because I wanted to see, fermentation from the perspective of the grape. And then one day, actually in 2010, the owner of Russian River Brewing Company gave me a call and offered me a job. And, it's not one you really say no to. And so,
right.
So I became a brewer at Russian River Brewing, and I was there for about 3 years. And then December 2013 is when I left Russian River and signed the lease on this place. It took me a year and a half to get open because I quite literally built, modified, repaired just about this whole damn place. And so finally opened up on April 10th of 2015.
Wow, that's quite a journey. So when you decided to open this place, how did you get the capital to do so?
So a lot of different, avenues with that. And so, sold my house in Petaluma. Have also kind of really, tapped out, a lot of kind of my family. And so that was a lot of it. And the rest of it has just been sweat equity from me. And then that's why I had to build the place.
So that's kind of building it from the ground up, selling the house. So those, describe some of those challenges, getting this place open. Because it took you a year and a half. And in the meantime, you're paying rent here. And
yeah. Yeah, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you it was scary, and it still is scary, to be honest. But, fortunately with the business now being 2 years old and, people really seem to understanding, the beer that we're making and kind of the direction we're trying to go, And so, everything is actually pointing to things going well, and we're finally, we're out of the red, and so that's pretty good.
That's great.
Yeah. But initially, because it is a very capital intensive business, and so I do have people all the time asking me how much they think they need to start a brewery, and it's one of those things that it was even said to me, and I didn't believe it at the time, that to try to figure out all of your costs and figure out everything that you believe it's going to cost, and then double it. And at the time, I'd been brewing professionally for 12 years, and so I know the ins and outs of a brewery very well, and so I really believed it's like, well, I've got a lot of experience, and so I believe I can probably be a little bit more accurate in that. Hindsight now, looking back, that's pretty accurate. Almost exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's been pretty much double that. And so, yeah.
So, how has the Taproom benefited what you're doing in the back here? Are you able to maybe recoup costs faster with a direct-to-consumer model? And how often are you open?
Yeah, so we're open really limited hours, but we are open 7 days a week. So Monday through Friday, 3:30 to 8, and then Saturday 2 to 7, Sunday 2 to 6. Although I am looking to modify the weekend and Friday hours to extend those hours a little bit. And so that was probably the one kind of part of the business model that I underestimated or didn't completely understand, the current, brewing environment as much as I do now, is the new brewing environment. It's all kind of, about your tap room. And so, there's so many breweries now, and result of that, most of the beer bars, even many of the restaurants now, they all have rotating taps. And so, which is great, it's a great way to get your message out, but also at the same time, to have any kind of consistency, with your tap handles, almost the only way to really guarantee, that you're gonna have, tap handles all the time is to own the bar. And so you see this, with a lot of other breweries now. Many of them are now really focusing on the tap rooms, even to the point that there are several breweries now that are opening up multiple tap rooms, in different, key areas, within their proximity. And so it's the new business model. The distribution model is kind of the old one, whereas the new one is really all about kind of the tap room.
So what's your business balance between wholesale, direct to consumer, so forth?
Yeah. So again, many breweries. I mean, if somebody were looking to open it up, I mean, honestly, I'd tell somebody probably 90%, would to be in their tap room, and then maybe 10% distribution. I didn't design this brewery to work that way, and so it doesn't function that way. And so currently, right now, about 15% of it is taproom sales, and then the other 85% is through distribution to different bars and restaurants.
Okay. Do you do a lot of your own distribution, or do you have a local distributor?
We do entirely our own distribution.
That was the big van back in the back?
Yeah. And so at some point, when we get a little bit bigger, because we're still tiny, when we get a little bit bigger, I will be interested, in discussing it, with some of the local distributors, about carrying our beers, but at this point in time, I'm just not big enough to be able to be with them yet.
And you primarily keg your beer then?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And not much bottling or canning?
No. So it's entirely kegs, and so we do have growlers that we sell out of the tap room, but yeah, primarily it's kegs. And so that is phase 2, where we're hoping to move into 16-ounce can. Within the next 6 months to a year, but that is the next plan.
16 ounce though?
Correct.
Okay, that's good. A pint.
Correct.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know where the 12 ounce ever came from. It's a weird size. It's tiny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kevin, tell us a little bit about where the business is going now. So you mentioned maybe going into canning, or so tell us about your growth projections.
Yeah, so as far as, again, my growth projections, and so, I am looking to get into cans, and so that, people don't have to go to bars and restaurants to be able to, have our beer. They can potentially, pick it up and take it with them to, the beach or camping, or, wherever they're looking to, bring those beers. But as far as even, a size that I'm looking to get to, I have no desire to ever be, the brewery that's in every 7-Eleven or every Safeway. The place that I'd like to be, and I've definitely got numbers for it, and so I feel like I have a good handle on where I want to be. I never want to be to a point in which the brewery is so big that I don't know all of the employees at, you know, the very kind of, you know, detailed level. You know, it's like I want to know, you know, all of my employees and potentially, you know, their significant others, and kind of know their current situation, and generally kind of run it almost more, you know, like a family. And so, you know, I have seen other breweries that, you know, have been that, and then have since, you know, grown out of that. And so that's kind of where I never want to be, is I never want to get to the point that I don't know and work with everybody almost directly daily.
And currently, what's your production level?
So currently we are still very small. And so currently, you know, we're producing, I mean, it's, you know, we're getting new accounts every day. So it's difficult to project out across a year. But for example, last year, you know, we sold about 500 barrels. And the pace that we are on, you know, right now today, we potentially got a pace to do about 1,000 barrels, you know, in 2017, and able to, you know, be able to fill into cans. I'm hoping to be able to acquire some more tanks in 2018, which will give me the ability to grow beyond that. But again, the volumes that I'm looking to be someday is basically, I never want to be bigger than about 20,000 barrels a year. And so really I'm looking for something between 10 and 15,000 barrels a year.
Will this facility accommodate that?
No, this facility will not accommodate that. And so this facility, I should be able to operate within this place for at least the next 3 years. And so, you know, I only have a small portion of this building, and I've already talked to the owner about the potential of maybe, you know, taking up some of the other units within this building. But I've got about 3 years to, you know, really figure that out. But if I need to move from this location, then I potentially will, you know, at that time.
So if we were going to make a documentary about your life, what bands would be included in that soundtrack?
Slayer, Tool, and then Rolling Stones.
There you go. Awesome. When you're ready to relax and do something just for yourself,
That never happened.
no kids, no wife, no nothing,
Never happened.
what do you do?
Nothing. I always have something to do. Yeah, and I mean, it sounds ridiculous, you know, that I drink my own beer, but I do love to, you know, drink my own beer. So pretty much it's just, yeah, nothing. Isolation, quiet in my backyard, and, you know, drinking my beer.
You have a kegerator in the backyard?
I don't, and so we do have quart cans to go, which is a 32-ounce can, and I take one home every day. It's 2 beers, it's perfect. And so, yeah.
Kevin, thanks so much for your time.
Totally, man.
Yeah, it was great talking with you and learning more about Plow. And tell us again, the tap room is open when?
Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 8, Saturday 2 to 7, and Sunday 2 to 6. But I am working on changing the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday hours. So within the next month or so, I'm looking to expand those a little bit for the summertime.
And our address here?
Is 3334 Industrial Drive.
Okay, great. And we'll post your website on the thing and all that
Cool.
stuff. So thanks again.
Awesome.
All right.
Kevin's matter-of-fact and genuine explanations of how he started Plow gave us a good idea of what it took for him to open his brewery. Kevin explained that he raised the capital to start his brewery by selling his house and borrowing from his family. Additionally, it took Kevin a year and a half to build the brewery and taproom himself. Kevin said in his own words that starting the business was scary, but that he felt the business was moving in the right direction. This was evident when he said they were out of the red and were expecting to double production next year. Kevin's business growth and goals are modest, and he said he never wants to grow the business to a size where he doesn't know every employee. I wish Kevin all the best and thank him for sharing his startup story with Outside the Glass. Join us next time on Outside the Glass when we visit with rising star and winemaker Steve Mathiasen of Mathiasen Wines. And thank you for joining us on Outside the Glass.